It's been 3 years since Red Dead Online was released, and in that time we've had 9 separate updates, some of them good, some of them bad. That's why in this video we will be going through a list of the worst to the best updates within Red Dead Online. Before I do get into the video, this video is brought to you by Skillshare. It's no secret that I've created a lot of gaming channels, and because I created so many, I know how to get them partnered in about 1 to 2 months without needing to promote them on other social media accounts. And I always get asked, how do I do it? That's why I've created an in-depth class on Skillshare. It goes through the basics of creating a new YouTube channel, but it quickly scales up into doing keyword research, planning videos, recording, editing, creating thumbnails, and eventually getting monetized, where you can actually start running your YouTube channel like a business by outsourcing the work. If you're interested in having your own gaming channel, then there is a link in the description down below, as well as you can find it as the pinned comment, and that will give you a free month of Skillshare where you can use that time to watch through my class, and at the end of it, you will understand everything that you need to know. So link to everything can be found in the description down below. Getting back into the video, I do need to start off by saying that this is just my opinion, and my opinion may be completely different to yours. So let me know in the comments how you would rank the different updates that we've had since the release. Firstly, the worst updates that we've ever had, and we actually need to go and group them because they're all very similar, is MP001, MP002, and MP003. These were the first 3 updates that we had within the first 6 months of the game. And this included various bug fixes, added the store so you can purchase gold, currency overhaul in showdown series and races, to some of the other updates later on, which brought in gun rush, Falls Gold as a free roam event, target races, new clothing items, new emotes, updated 2-player radar and visibility, easier parlay and feud system, and enhanced lore and bounty system. All of this may seem like there's quite a bit of content there, but it really wasn't. These were just slight changes in gameplay with a few extra additions which did include content, but none of it was major. The updates were needed, but it doesn't mean that it was fun. To begin with, the game was empty, and I know a lot of people complain nowadays that there's nothing to do within the game. Well, back then, there really wasn't. There was a total of 8 Land of Opportunity missions, Stranger missions, and basic showdown series with a few free roam events. Nothing else. No daily challenges, no dynamic event, no roles, and the whole of Red Dead Online could just be completed within just a couple hours. Long-time players will remember how bad it was at the beginning, and I think because I remember whenever new content does come out, I'm just happy that we're no longer at that beginning stage. But it still doesn't stop that those 3 initial updates right at the beginning was by far the worst. Moving up through the list, but still not a great update overall, is the Bounty Hunter enhancement, which was released on the 1st of December 2020. The Bounty Hunter at this stage was my least favorite role within the game, so even when this was announced, I did not have high expectations. But even though my expectations were low, the update still didn't even reach it. There was no changes in gameplay, it was the same as what we already had, it was just duplicated, reskinned versions of what was already within the game. The legendary bounties were okay, but they've always lacked replayability. There were no new gameplay mechanics, the 10 extra ranks were pointless, offering nothing of value in skills or rank unlocks. Oh, and this was also the update that gave us the Great Gold Daily Challenge nerf, which ruined people's daily challenge streak and reduced the amount of gold players could earn. Not to mention that later on in the update, this was when Telegram missions were first introduced as one-off missions, which there really wasn't anywhere near enough, and for those that were there, they were boring and linear. And finally, the other thing that puts a very sour taste in fans' mouths is that this just felt like a cash grab, as Rockstar released the Red Dead Online standalone, which seemed to have more advertisement than the Bounty Hunter enhancement itself. As you can see, I got nothing good to say about this update, and that's why it's second on the list. Moving on, the next update to talk about is the spring update, which was released the 14th of May 2019. And looking back at this update was just okay. There was anything too crazy, but it wasn't disappointing with the content that was actually advertised and then released. At the time of when it was first released, this felt like amazing content. This is what I considered as the first major update, which actually brought in good type of content, whereas before it was just slight gameplay changes with a few additions to game modes. This update provided new Land of Opportunity missions, new free roam missions from known characters from the story, known as the Aberdeen Pig Farmers, Black Belt, and also Sadie Adler with her husband. We then had posse versus challenges, dynamic events, poker tables added to the world, new showdown series, and a lot of them, which counted as drip-fed content for the coming weeks. The map revolvers as a new weapon, new types of clothing, changes to playing styles being the offensive and defensive, changes to the hostility system, and loads of balances and improvements. This was a great addition to the game, and it was also spontaneous. There was no announcement the week before saying that an update was coming, it was just released. The only really bad thing from this update is that they also gave us a lot of information about the very next update, being the summer update of 2019, which we now know is the Frontier Pursuits. It was exciting at the time knowing all this content was coming to a game that had nothing in it, but unfortunately it led at this point to us not enjoying the current content that was just released, but actually looking forward to the next update. The next update sounded 100 times better. Unfortunately, we just didn't know when it was coming out. This was by far the worst wait that we ever had to sit through, with zero communication from Rockstar. The spring update of 2019 is third on my list. Next up, we have the Blood Money update, the most recent update at the time of recording this video. This was released on the 13th of July 2021. This update got a lot of hype when it was first announced. This was what fans were waiting for. Finally, outlaw activities were added to the game, with how it was advertised sounding very much like we were going to get heist, as we had to go and collect the diamond, emerald, and ruby. But when it was actually released, it was very anticlimactic. This comes from a person who had realistic expectations. Loads were expecting free roam heists, and in a video building up to the release, I told you that that wasn't going to happen. And still, with my realistic expectations, the update just wasn't executed well. Me personally, I still had fun with the content. I also see that it was needed to boost audience retention at the beginning of the game. But for those that have been around for a very long time, looking just to go through heists within Red Dead, similar to what there is already within GTA, all Rockstar needs to do is copy that system to bring it over, and unfortunately, it was just nothing of what fans expected. 3 years of waiting for outlaw content, and this was the first introduction to it. It just didn't go down too well. The missions yet again had no replayability. The opportunities were not what was expected, and we also got new pointless currency being Capitali. The good thing is that we do now have outlaw content in the game, and there are now outlaw activities. We did get by far one of the best game modes ever added, which was the Call to Arms survival game mode. But those are the only positives that came from the Blood Money update. Next up, I have listed the Naturalist, which was released on the 28th of July 2020. The Naturalist is a weird one because it built next to no hype when it was first announced. People wanted heist at the time, and with this content, they're studying animals. No one expected this to be good in the first place, so expectation was extremely low at the beginning, but I had a lot of fun with it. Of course, I had some problems with it. I hate Harriet as a character. It's annoying when she drugs you. I haven't spent any time recently sedating animals or taking pictures of them. Not to mention that this update did include the most pointless content ever, being the vitalism studies that cost gold to enter. They allow you to transform into animals, but there being nothing to do once you actually transform into them. And to make matters worse, it's been broken for over a year, with Rockstar not showing any sign of them looking to fix it. But the good thing with this update is that it had redeeming qualities, being the legendary animals. 42 legendary animals which were drip fed but led to fun weekly updates. Weekly updates before this normally only offer benefits to new players. For long-time players, they have nothing to look forward to because they've already got the items which have been discounted, and the bonuses make no difference. During the Naturalist update, we got weekly updates which provided new legendary animals every single week. Some of these legendary animals were added to free roam, whereas others were added to missions from Harriet, and each of those missions had variations of itself. Some with cinematics, some with not, some within completely different areas, and some with different starting locations. But even with how legendary animals were deployed, once you actually come across one, you had a choice in what you had to do with it. You could either sedate and sample and take that sample to Harriet to get money for the sample itself, and also get that legendary animal logged within your animal field book. You then have the choice to kill and skin that animal, where you can take it to the trapper and get an item of clothing, being one of the garments which is based around that legendary animal. And of course, this went into other roles, being the trader, where you can kill and skin that animal, and you would take it all the way over to cribs where you can donate it to the trader for materials. This choice gave you replayability. For a lot of people right at the beginning, those legendary animal garments is what people wanted. They wanted all 42 of them. Once that was done, that's when they started to go through Harriet and started to sedate and sample, and once they managed to complete the animal field book a few times, that's when they always donated legendary animals to the trader. And to this day, I still go through the Naturalist to go and get legendary animals to actually donate to the trader. It's still useful, unlike some of the other content that Rockstar has released. The next update on my list is by far my favorite role within the game. This is the Moonshiner. The Moonshiner update was released on the 14th of December 2019. The Moonshiner was simple to understand, it was rewarding, there were some good unlocks, it offered the first property within the game, and alongside it you also had some of the best story missions. It wasn't the biggest update ever, but briefly there was something for everyone within the role. You would forage for berries and flowers to create moonshine recipes, you would own your own illegal underground business, you could invite friends over to socialize in the underground bar, you could do deliveries to make money, you can take small missions as bootleggers to do a variety of different types of activities, you can take a look at more action-packed story missions from a Life of Shine missions, and there were also extra side content to give unique rewards, such as the poison poppy moonshine recipe, which was broken at first but did get fixed. Plus we also have Larry's revolver as the only secret weapon that we have within the game. Before this, you do also need to play GTA Online. This is arguably the last proper role that was added to the game that built excitement before it was released, and on release it was fun to go through. It wasn't perfect, there were still a lot of issues with bugs, and in Rockstar style, those issues took a long time to fix. But even with those issues, it was fun to play through, and even to this day, I still go through this role on a daily basis. With the Moonshiner being second, this brings us to first place, the best update that we've had within Red Dead Online, being the Frontier Pursuits update, which was released on the 10th of September 2019. For me, the Moonshiner and Frontier Pursuits update are on a similar level. I prefer the Moonshine role over any other role within the game. It is my favorite, but the reason the Frontier Pursuits is first for me is because it did offer 3 roles. We've had nothing like it ever since. We got the Bounty Hunter, Trader, and Collector all in just one update. I've already mentioned that the Bounty Hunter is now my least favorite role in the game, but at the beginning, it was fun to go through as it was new. It also provided some of the best weekly updates we've had alongside those legendary animals that we talked about earlier with the Naturalist. With the Frontier Pursuits update, we got legendary bounties every week, which lasted 10 weeks. Now this wasn't the update that lasted the longest. There were other updates such as the Naturalist and the Blood Money update, which did last longer. Both of those updates were released way earlier within their years, and they lasted so much longer than what the Frontier Pursuits update did. But what was special with the Frontier Pursuits update is that even though it didn't last long with drip-fed content, with the content that was added, it did last long. As soon as you went through the Bounty Hunter role, got to max rank 20 and potentially even got a bit bored, it didn't even matter because there were another 2 roles within the game that you could go through. The update itself also provided highly requested content such as wagons, more camp customization, a dog at the camp, businesses, new ways to make money, new ways to make gold, new types of daily challenges, new horses, new weapons, new weapon customization. This was by far the best update we've ever had, and it covered so much ground. There were also massive changes to gameplay as we had a complete overhaul to character movement, making everything a lot faster. There were also life improvements that were introduced as different skills that were part of those role unlocks, making life a lot easier. This was also the part where the fanbase had the most faith within Rockstar. These were classed as the golden months within Red Dead Online, where in September we had the Frontier Pursuits update. In October we had the Halloween game modes, which are always fun, and this was the first time that we got them as it was our first proper year within the game. In November, we had the Red Dead Redemption 2 PC release, which brought in mods. Those mods were then broadcast as YouTube videos and different types of live streams, which brought even more entertainment. And finally, in December, that's where my favorite role was added, the Moonshiner. It was just an action-packed end of 2019, and we was hoping that with this going into 2020, we was going to be getting something similar. Unfortunately, we didn't. And we've had nothing like this ever since. Anyway, guys, this is the order in which I would place all the different updates that we've had currently within Red Dead Online. If you have a different opinion to me, then please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see you.